Wally Szczerbiak, former NBA player, CBS Sports Network college basketball analyst, Miami of Ohio legend. And by the way, they get very sensitive, when it's Miami and Miami of Ohio, because I think Miami of Ohio is actually, it's the true Miami. Is that right, Wally?
Yep. It was actually founded very early before Florida was even a state. The university was founded. So, yes, it is. I don't get too sensitive. Just, people like to go by the original Miami.
All right. That's all that I wanted to talk to you about. We appreciate you coming on, Wally. Thank you.
All good. I appreciate it.
All right. Here's the poll question. Would you rather have upsets if it meant that your brackets were going to pay the price, or you could do well in your brackets with no upsets?
It's an analyst. It's supposed to sound smart about the stuff he's saying. I would prefer if it would stay a little bit more towards the chalk angle. But, you got to give some of those teams credit. It was an exciting day yesterday. And how about the letdown of the Big 12, a conference that was supposedly so strong, starts the tournament 0-3.
Okay,
so,
but do we overrate them, Wally?
I think so, no question. A lot of people, I always thought they were the second best conference behind the ACC, because the ACC has the big hitters in Notre Dame, North Carolina, Louisville, Virginia, and Duke. Those are 5 teams that have, Sweet 16, Final Four type potential, I think. Whereas the Big 12, they kind of beat up on each other. Nobody could win on the road in that league. I was very vested in that league because my old teammate Freddie Hoiberg coaches Iowa State. And when you looked at the way Iowa State played yesterday against UAB was kind of bigger, stronger, a little bit more athletic at a lot of those positions, almost every position. And, yes, Iowa State's very skilled, and they had an off shooting day, but that UAB team looked pretty physically imposing in all of their matchups, and they dominated the boards and, worked harder, played harder. And, it looked like a team that, belonged out there on the court with Iowa State, and they just, willed their way to a victory.
The finish in the UCLA-SMU game, where do you stand on that?
Oh, unbelievable. What a game. 19-0 run by SMU to get that lead, and looked like they were going to be okay heading into the, moving on. I knew UCLA was going to pose problems with their talent and kind of having a chip on their shoulder, everyone saying they shouldn't be there, but I think the refs got the call right. I really do. I've watched a lot of basketball. When a shot is put up there, I know the shot had no chance of going in, but I think the shot was going to nick the rim. And anytime the shot is up around the rim, you cannot touch it when it's above the rim if you're a player. Players know that. And it's a non-reviewable play according to the rules. I think after this they're going to change it, because with camera angles, it'll give a referee a little bit more time to assess whether it was really going to hit the rim or not. But I think they got the call right 100%. I give those refs credit. It's not a tough call to make, but it's a call that had to be made, and Yannick Moreira has to realize you can't go up there and touch that ball if it's a shot attempt up at the basket and it's got a chance at hitting the rim.
Yeah, I think they got the call right, and you're taught never put your hand up there, because you're just asking the official to call it. But how about this? And usually it takes something like this for change, where there's something that happens and people feel like somebody got jobbed. If you said in the final minute of tournament games, the officials have total autonomy. If they want to review something in the final minute, then they can review that. What do you think?
I think it'd be great. I think football, although it causes a lengthy delay, I just think you want to get that call right. And you have the human error there, where the officials are running around in a loud gym, and there's a lot of commotion, and it's tough to get that call right on a bang-bang situation. And, we discussed this in the seminar just 2 weeks ago with the head of officials, and he said, in the final 2 minutes you can review all kinds of other plays, whether the ball went off someone's hand, but as of now they feel that's a judgment call. And I would beg to differ, and I hope they change it, because a lot of the analysts were questioning, that type of play could cost someone a game, and you don't want it to if it's not the right call. So hopefully in the future they do change it. I think of, when a guy goes up and shoots a layup and it hits the backboard first and then somebody blocks it. That's something that's tough to see on the fly quickly in a game, whereas if you go back and review it, you can really tell if it hit the backboard first and goaltending occurred. So hopefully they do make that change, and the bottom line is get the call right, like the NFL has tried to do.
He's Wally Szczerbiak, the Miami of Ohio legend, working for CBS Sports, joining us Dan Patrick Show. Did you ever get a jersey with your name spelled incorrectly?
Yes, I did, but it never made court. It was actually my rookie year in Minnesota. We had a really savvy we had a really savvy equipment manager who made sure he had an extra jersey of mine in the equipment bag that was always spelled correctly. So it never made it out on the court, the incorrect spelling of my last name.
Did you keep it?
No, I didn't. I think he just took it back, and I think he took a letter off and then got the letter properly sewn on correctly.
What was your moment in the NBA when, that you'll tell your kids, "Hey, Dad did this against this guy"?
It's really funny. It was a game in Minnesota when I had a big game, and I was a pretty popular player up there, having played 7 years and everything. And it was at the end of the game. I think I had 37 points in the game against Utah. And I was going to the free throw line, and a female fan, literally ran out on the court and ran right towards me as I was going to set up and shoot a free throw to give me a hug. And I kind of sidestepped her, and she was a little bit out of it, a little bit delirious. She was like walking around looking for me when I just kind of moved to the 3-point line. She couldn't find me, and it was literally 5 or 10 seconds where no security was out there, and she was just meandering around the lane while all the guys were lined up on the right and left side of the free throw line. It was kind of an absolutely bizarre moment. It's too bad back then, there wasn't the whole Vine and Twitter and Instagram, because that would have been an absolute hit. But I'll always remember that moment. It was a pretty funny moment when a fan came out to try to give me a hug.
And then you married her.
Don't let my wife hear that of 15 years, my college sweetheart.
Yeah, but you had the boy band looks, though. I could see that, right?
Yeah, maybe, I guess. That could have been the reason. Up in Minnesota, the fans were great, and we had some really good teams, and we had a lot of fun up there. So it was my teammates were really, really funny after that. They were teasing me, harassing me. They thought it was a pretty funny moment.
Who gave you grief, though? As far as guys you played against, who was biggest trash talker towards you?
On the court, Scottie Pippen, I remember. He was towards the end of his career with the Portland Trailblazers, and we played them in the playoffs. And I remember, he was a guy who definitely had a few choice words to say. Reggie Miller, I played against him at the end of his career. So he was a guy that was always yapping.
But why would they say, you're a nice guy, Wally? Why would?
Oh no, that was just trash talk. I'm going to take you to school on this play. I'm going to post you up. I'm going to light you up. That was just that type of stuff in the course of a game.
Did you say anything back?
Of course. I was never one to initiate the trash talking. That would always motivate me and get me going. So, I'd always have to respond, and I normally tried to respond with being aggressive, going back at him on the basketball court.
How old were you? You played with LeBron. What was LeBron,
Yep.
22 at the time?
I think he was about 25, 26.
Oh, he was, okay.
Yeah, because I played, my last year was 08-09 when we won 66 games with the Cavs before he left for Miami.
How's he changed?
How's he changed? I loved him when he was there. I thought he was a great teammate. He was a great friend, great guy on and off the court.
He couldn't outshoot you, though.
No. He still can't. He still can't. He can definitely...
well, that is true, though, Wally. He can't outshoot you now.
Well, that's the only thing I still can do. I can't run, can't play, but I can still play a game of horse and do some spot shooting.
Larry Brown said Kentucky could make the playoffs in the Eastern Conference.
That's a stretch. I don't think that would happen.
Could they win a game, Wally?
Absolutely. I think if you put that roster in the NBA for 82 games, they would win 10 games, maybe 5 games, something like that. You look at, I do the post game for the Knicks, and they've had some games where, because of injuries, they've put some really, really, inexperienced teams, undrafted rookies, second-round draft picks. Out there on the floor, and these Kentucky guys are a lot of projected first-round picks. So I think there are times, especially if they were playing on their home floor in the NBA, that they could have stuck out some wins against teams like the Timberwolves, teams like the Sixers, and teams like the Knicks.
If I gave you over/under Phil Jackson still with the Knicks in some capacity 5 years. You going over or under?
Wow. That's he's got his work cut out for him. Obviously, I think this year hasn't gone the way he's
Just say under. Just say under, Wally.
I'm going to give you a push on that one.
No.
Got to give you the old push.
I got to go under. I think they gave Phil too much money for him to turn it down, but yep. I think he realizes, he's got his girlfriend in California, and he's got a bad team that's not going to get better anytime soon. What do you think?
It's an interesting one, but like I said, I'm going to go push. He's done all the right things right now. He's just got to hit the lottery, so to speak, in the draft, and he's got to get a few free agents, and it can turn around really quick if you get lucky in this offseason. He's set the team up for success with the cap room. He's just got to pick the right guys and have them work out. Could
you beat Steve Kerr in a shooting contest right now?
Yeah, I heard he's down 15-2 against Steph Curry from the free throw line, and that's very alarming. Freddie Hoiberg and I used to play a game, free throw golf. So
what is free throw golf?
It's a great game. You shoot 9 shots individual. You go one after another. If you swish it, it's a birdie. If you make it, it's a par. If you miss it, it's a bogey. So you take 9 shots, you keep your total score depending on that. It forces you to concentrate on swishing the shot, not just making the shot. And then once per the 9 holes, you can say, I'm going for an eagle. And what an eagle is banking the free throw in. So if you bank the free throw in, you get -2.
What about left-handed? If you go opposite hand?
You could go the Hank Gathers approach. And Bo Kimball. In respect to Hank Gathers, and try that. But I always used to stick to my strengths with the right hand.
Yeah, but see, I viewed it as a miss if I hit iron.
Right. Okay, well, I see what you're saying. That's viewed as a par. If you hit iron, that's a par. You stay where you are. If you swish it, birdie. If you miss it, then that's when you get the bogey at -1.
I like it.
Yeah, it's a good game.
Good to talk to you again, Wally. We appreciate you joining us. Thank you.
My pleasure. I'm a big fan. Thanks a lot.
All right, that's Wally Szczerbiak, Miami of Ohio legend.